film is hitting two very powerful senses, your hearing and your sight, because it's giving you more. It's more likely to overpower you, and you're gonna miss something. The young great legend Rod Wave watched the movie and then went and knocked out a song for us in a day, inspired by the film. And sent us the song. I'm like, yo, this is done. you know what I'm saying? There's nothing else we can do for this. We can't touch it. It was exhilarating making this movie, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, oh, this is the base for everything that we know now, not just as black people, but as global popular culture. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has followed in those guys' footsteps, like from the British invasion, from the Beatles, and the Rolling Stones naming themselves after they music. You're not even the same person in 4 months. You know what I'm saying? Like I've written a screenplay, and then got to like the last day of shooting. I'm looking at the script like, what the f was I like? Who wrote this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I often say that, like, man, what was I thinking? And I'm trying to get back into my own head. Obviously, Elvis, who was right there, that was his. That's what he was playing. You know what I mean? If you grabbed Elvis and ask him, they say, hey, he the king of rock and roll, X, Y, and Z. They say, man, what you playing? He'll tell you, man, I'm playing blues music. You know what I mean? And because he was white, they had to call it something different and manipulate that. So for me, man, like the studying of this music was it was a study of what life is now. The best blues musicians basically came out of the church, and the blues was known as the devil's music. You know what I'm saying? It was a huge dichotomy, like a lot of anxiety and judgment out of that, and a lot of guilt. Basically, he'll basically go like 5 years drinking and playing blues music, 5 years sober and preaching, 5 years drinking and playing blues music, 10 years sober, and now he got his own church. You know what I'm saying? It was that kind of cycle. So that's why we started it like that. And it was always a conflict between church music and secular music. Like the first music to get called the devil's music was the Delta blues music. And there was also that dichotomy of, the same people who would be in that juke joint Saturday night. They might go home, wash up, sleep for a couple hours, and take their ass right back to church in the morning. You know what I mean? The juke joint was a place, man, where for a few hours they could put on their finest clothes. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Go in there and not have to worry about who was watching them and who was looking at them. And they can hear the best musicians on earth. Yeah. Playing just right there for them. You know what I'm saying? And get a little bit piece of respite. And that culture, man, that became nightclub culture. That became nightclub culture. You know what I mean? Like that became
parallel, right?
Yeah. I'm listening to the guitar riffs and like what they talking about and like the passion they sing with and I'm like, that's odd. Man, I dug into the research, man, and that's exactly what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just blues music sung by white people. These two institutions that basically had the same thing going on, and people was dealing with so much that they were looking for the same. They were looking for a little temporary release. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe it's spiritual on Sunday, maybe it's more carnal Saturday night. You know what I'm saying? But it is a necessary part of the human condition. I think it's the combination of all of the mediums. You know what I'm saying? Like music, unless you're seeing somebody perform live, music is just hitting one sense. It's just hitting your ears, your hearing. You know what I'm saying? And film is hitting two very powerful senses. Your hearing and your sight. And I think that because it's giving you more, it's more likely to overpower you, and you're gonna miss something that then your subconscious will work to try to break down and unpack. And so I would find myself when I was thinking about him playing like all blues records. You feel me? Like and when I would listen to him, it was like if I closed my eyes, it was like he was there with me. You know what I'm saying? Like the power of music to be able to do that, right? I think the power of music is that it's so immediate. You know what I mean? And that's why people use it like in such a utilitarian style. You know what I'm saying? Like people use music to pump themselves up for a game, or use music to get themselves in a romantic mood. Or use music to get yourself in get yourself in an artistic mode or get yourself into an intellectual mode. It's immediate. You know what I'm saying? Like I put on Fast Car right now. So many people in here are gonna start crying immediately. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I've seen movies, man, and thought coming out of the theater, man, I don't know if I like that one. And I go home and I dream about it. You know what I'm saying? And I wake up the next day and I'm thinking about it. You know, and I'll sleep on it, wake up the next morning and say, man, I actually like that. That's my subconscious breaking it, you know what I'm saying, breaking it down. Humility, bro, is one of those concepts that I struggle with in terms of like understanding it. You know what I'm saying? Like I use the verb, but it's such a versatile word, bro.
Right.
Like what I try to do with myself is maintain perspective, you know, constantly. And it's a survival tactic,
right,
for me. It helps my mental health, and it helps, I think, protect me from losing that perspective. But he was talking about how, because he just had a kid. He was talking about how weird it is, how helpless we are.
Yeah. Like
as not just as a species, but as babies. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that functionality of us is unique to human beings. In that how we evolved, essentially our brains are massive, but we walk upright, so our hips are narrow. So we had to develop in a way where women give birth to human children way earlier than they would if we were another type of mammal.
Yeah. Okay. Like in relative to like their lifespan.
Yeah. Because if we were not bipedal, we could have wider hips, so a baby could live for longer in utero.
Right. Okay.
And we had a relationship with these adults.
That was very dependent.
Usually.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That you know. And you come up, you transition from being physically helpless to mentally and emotionally helpless. And what is that relationship with these adults in your life that's supposed to, you know, quote unquote, look after you, protect you, you know what I'm saying, and be the shield from the world and the prism through which it's interpreted. So like, I think that's why when they see a father, son, kid in a movie, you immediately go into an emotional state. You know what I'm saying? It's because it is like shared reality. You know what I'm saying? So it's a hack, bro. Like for any storyteller.